Picture this. Your toddler runs to you crying. They tripped, or a toy broke, or maybe they don't even know why they're upset, they just are. And they need you. You're in the middle of something. Dinner is on the stove. Your phone just buzzed. You're tired. So you look at them and say, "You're okay. That's not so bad. Go play." And they do. They wipe their face, turn around, and go back to playing. And some part of you exhales. Because that was easy. Because they're fine. Because you didn't have to stop what you were doing and sit on the floor and wade through the feelings with them. And there is nothing wrong with you for feeling that relief. Nothing at all. But here is what I need you to understand today. That moment, that small, ordinary, completely understandable moment, is one of hundreds of moments that are quietly teaching your child something. Something they will carry into every relationship they ever have for the rest of their life. And if that moment repeats consistently enough, the lesson your child learns is this: when I show my feelings, the people I love move away from me. So the safe thing, the smart thing, is to stop showing them. That is how avoidant attachment begins. Not with dramatic events, not with absent parents or difficult childhoods, but with small, repeated, everyday moments exactly like that one. Today we are going to talk about what those moments are, why they matter more than most parents realize, and exactly what to do differently starting today. Before we get into the specific behaviors, I want you to understand something about how your child's brain actually works. Because once you see this, everything else will make sense. Harvard researchers who study early childhood development have found that in the first years of life, over 1 million neural connections form in a child's brain every single second. And the single biggest influence on how those connections form is the pattern of interactions between the child and their caregiver. They call it serve and return. Every time your child reaches out through a cry, a gesture, a look, running to you, upset, that is a serve. And every time you respond with warmth, presence, and emotional availability, that is a return. Serve and return, hundreds of times a day, is literally building your child's brain. But here is the part that changes everything. Your child's nervous system is not learning from single events. It is learning from patterns. One instance of you being distracted when they're upset does not teach avoidance. One bad day does not wire anything permanently. But hundreds of instances over months and years where emotional reaching is met with minimization, distraction, or subtle parental discomfort, that teaches the nervous system something very clear and very lasting. Reaching out for comfort is unreliable. So stop reaching. And your child, being the brilliant, adaptive little human they are, does exactly that. They stop reaching. They learn to manage their feelings alone. They become quieter, easier, less emotionally demanding. And because that behavior gets praised, she's so independent, he's so mature, they're so easy, the pattern deepens until it becomes who they believe they are. Now let's talk about exactly how this happens and what you can do about each one. Your child comes to you upset. And your instinct, because you love them and you don't want them to suffer, is to make the feeling stop as quickly as possible. You're okay. That's not so bad. Look, it's already better. Big kids don't cry over this. Every single one of those phrases, said with love, sends the same message to your child's nervous system. Your feeling is wrong. Your feeling is too much. Your feeling makes me uncomfortable and I need it to stop. And the child who hears this enough times learns to agree. They start minimizing their own feelings before they even bring them to you. They learn to talk themselves out of emotions before expressing them. And eventually they stop expressing them at all because experience has taught them that expression leads to dismissal. What to do instead is simpler than you think. When your child comes to you upset, resist the urge to fix or minimize. Instead, just name what you see and stay close. You're really upset right now. I'm right here. That's it. You don't have to have the perfect words. You don't have to solve anything. You just have to stay physically close, emotionally present, not rushed while they feel what they feel. Your calm, accepting presence during their storm is the return their nervous system is waiting for. And repeated hundreds of times, it teaches them something entirely different. When I show my feelings, the people I love come closer. That is the foundation of secure attachment, and it starts with those 4 words, I'm right here. We live in a culture that celebrates early independence in children, and so many parents with the very best intentions begin encouraging self-soothing and emotional independence far too early. You can handle this. You don't need help with that. Stop crying. You're fine. Here is the problem with this. Self-regulation, the ability to manage your own emotional states, is not a skill children are born with. It is a skill that develops gradually, after thousands of experiences of being regulated by a calm, present caregiver first. Think of it this way. You would not throw a child into deep water and praise them every time they manage not to drown and call that swimming lessons. But when we push emotional self-sufficiency before a child has built the nervous system foundation for it, that is essentially what we are doing. The child learns to self-soothe not from security, but from necessity. Not because they are genuinely capable and confident, but because they have learned that needing someone is unreliable or even actively discouraged. What to do instead? Provide generous co-regulation first. When your young child is upset, be their external regulator, your calm presence, your steady breathing, your patient, unhurried witness to their emotional state. This is not spoiling them. This is not creating dependency. This is building the neurological foundation from which genuine independence will eventually and naturally grow. After hundreds of experiences of you helping them come back to calm, they will begin to internalize that process. Real self-regulation grows from co-regulation, not instead of it. And when they do eventually calm down with your help, notice how you praise it. Instead of "See, you didn't even need me. You're so independent." Try, "You were really upset, and you let me help you through it. I'm so glad you came to me." You are teaching them that needing others is not weakness. It is wisdom. This one is subtle, but it may be the most powerful pattern on this entire list. Your child is crying, upset, overwhelmed, and you, perhaps because the emotional intensity is uncomfortable, perhaps because you believe they need to calm down, first you wait. You stay a little distant until the storm passes, and then, once they are calm, you move in with warmth and connection. Your child's nervous system registers this pattern precisely. Connection comes after I shut my feelings off. The way back to closeness is through emotional suppression, and so they learn to do exactly that. Disconnect from the feeling first, present a calm exterior, then reconnect with you. It works every time. But what they are practicing over and over, hundreds of times, is the exact pattern that will devastate their adult relationships. The inability to be vulnerable in real time, the compulsion to handle everything privately before allowing anyone close, the wall that goes up the moment emotions get intense. What to do instead? Move toward them while they are still in it, not after, during. Sit with them while they are still crying. Hold them if they will let you. Be calmly, steadily present in the middle of the mess. You are not rewarding the crying. You are teaching their nervous system something it desperately needs to learn. When I am at my worst, the people I love show up. I do not have to be okay before I am worthy of comfort. That lesson, absorbed in childhood through your consistent presence during their hardest moments, is what allows them to one day be vulnerable with a partner, to ask for help when they are struggling, to reach for connection instead of retreating from it. Pay attention to when you are warmest with your child. Is it when they are cheerful, independent, and not asking for much? Or is it equally present when they are struggling, emotional, and needing something from you? If you are honest, and most parents are, when they really look, there is often a pattern. More warmth when the child is easy. Slightly less engagement when the child is messy, demanding, or emotionally intense. Your child notices this. Not with their mind, with their body, with their nervous system. They feel the difference in your energy, your eye contact, your tone, and they adapt. They learn that the version of themselves that gets the fullest, warmest version of you is the contained, capable, low-maintenance version. So that is the version they present. They tuck the rest away. They become, as parents often gratefully describe them, easy. But that ease has a cost, because the parts of themselves they tucked away do not disappear. They just go underground. And they resurface, years later, in relationships where someone is asking for all of them, not just the easy parts. What to do instead is to consciously reverse the pattern. Give extra warmth and engagement specifically when your child is vulnerable. When they ask for help, light up. When they share something hard, lean in. When they show a need, meet it with enthusiasm rather than relief that it's manageable. I'm so glad you came to me with this. Thank you for telling me how you're feeling. I love being able to help you. You are teaching them that all of them is welcome. Not just the easy parts, all of it. Children learn far more from what they watch than from what they are told. If you tell your child that feelings are okay and asking for help is healthy, but they never see you having feelings or asking for help, the lesson they absorb is from your modeling, not your words. When you handle every difficulty without visible emotion, when you never admit you are struggling, when you project constant competence and self-sufficiency, your child learns that this is what strong, admirable adults do, and they begin to aspire to it. The fix here is not to burden your child with adult problems. It is simply to let them see appropriate, healthy, emotional humanity in you. I had a hard day and I'm feeling stressed. I'm going to call a friend and talk about it because that always helps me feel better. Your child just watched you reach for connection during difficulty. That is the lesson. This is really challenging me. I'm going to ask your father to help me figure it out. Your child just learned that capable people ask for help. Model the balance between strength and vulnerability, between independence and interdependence. Show them that needing others is not weakness, it is what human beings are designed for. Because the child who watches you reach, really reach, honestly and without shame, is the child who will know how to reach when it matters most. Avoidant attachment does not begin with dramatic failures. It begins in the small moments. The ordinary Tuesday afternoon moments that no parent ever flags as important. The minimized feeling, the pushed independence, the comfort that waited, the easy child who was praised for not needing much. None of it was malicious. Almost all of it was love expressed imperfectly, the way love always is, in the reality of actual parenting. But now you know what to look for. And knowing changes everything. You do not need to be a perfect parent. Your child's nervous system is not looking for perfection. It is looking for patterns it can trust. And the most important pattern you can give them is simply this. When I reach, you come. When I am at my worst, you stay. When I show you all of me, you welcome all of me. Build that pattern. Repeat it. Let it be the one that takes root. Everything else will grow from there. If this episode gave you something to think about, one moment to look at differently, one habit to gently shift, then it did exactly what it was meant to do. Share it with a parent who needs it. Leave a comment telling me which of these patterns you recognized in yourself, because we have all been there. And stay with us, because this conversation continues. Until next time, be patient with yourself, be present with your children, and remember that the most important work you will ever do happens in the quietest, most ordinary moments of your day.